There's absolutely no way he can beat a world champion and become world champion.
Doing these little smash and grab fights, you know, you might get a few likes, but there's nothing substantial to it. It's hollow. It's hollow. It can be profitable, but it's hollow.
Boxing experts just lost their minds after Mike Tyson revealed his secret move for November 15th. Up until now, it was all about Jake Paul, right? This guy's been running around, stirring up drama, crafting strategies to keep his name buzzing. But guess what? Tyson just flipped the script, and with one single move, he might just be the one to knock Jake's entire career off the map. Even the biggest names in boxing have jumped in, practically begging Jake to rethink his life choices for the sake of his sanity. But nope, Jake's got his blinders on. Like, how can someone be so completely unbothered after getting smacked with warnings like that? I mean, seriously? Let me break down all the madness for you. But before we get too deep into this whole Tyson secret move business, let's address the elephant in the room. What exactly makes Jake Paul so ridiculously overconfident? Well, it's all because Jake's been on cloud nine ever since his win over Mike Perry on July 20th. And trust me, this guy knows how to celebrate. You'd think he's taking a cultural tour of Paris, right? Nah, forget about the art and the history. Jake has turned the City of Lights into his personal 24/7 party zone.
Jake, how are you, Jake? Hey, my brother, be careful, my brother. Be careful, Jake! Be careful!
But the problem here is that this isn't just some post-victory celebration. Oh no, this is jockey practically begging the universe to knock him off his high horse. He's strutting around Paris like he's untouchable. Like taking down Mike Perry means he's now the king of the boxing world. In Jake's head, it seems like every fighter with the name Mike is just another feather in his cap. Just another poor soul who has the misfortune of crossing his path to greatness. But hold up, this isn't admiration fueling the buzz around Jake. It's pure, unfiltered concern. The kind of concern that only comes when someone's heading full speed into a wall they don't even see.
Boxer on the planet is?
Jake Paul.
Why?
I mean, who's doing it?
I mean, if Mike Tyson says, let's do this, are you down?
100%.
Now, we understand that overconfidence can push a fighter to train harder, fight smarter, and maybe even rise to new levels. But more often than not, it's the kind of fire that burns you when you're not looking. It makes you blind to your own weaknesses, makes you underestimate your opponents, and before you know it, you're flat on your back, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. And that, my friends, is exactly the trap Jake is walking straight into. The boxing legends, the experts who've seen it all, they're watching this circus unfold. And they're not amused. In fact, they're getting ready to teach Jockey a lesson he won't soon forget. He might think he's on top of the world, but these seasoned pros have seen this story play out 100 times before. The rise, the arrogance, and then boom, the fall. And they're about to show Jake just how fast that fall can happen. And when we talk about boxing pros lining up to give Jake a reality check about Tyson, the first name that leaps to mind is Kevin McBride. To know this guy, you have to travel back to June 11, 2005. That night, the boxing world was glued to what would turn out to be Mike Tyson's swan song, a final professional fight that was anything but your standard farewell. Across the ring from Tyson stood Kevin McBride, an Irish heavyweight who at 6'6" and nearly 270 pounds was basically a human skyscraper compared to the former undisputed heavyweight champ. But this fight wasn't just about size. It was a showdown of sheer willpower, where frustration, desperation, and brute force collided in ways no one really saw coming. Tyson walked into that ring that night, not as the unbeatable force of nature he once was, but still cloaked in the aura of a man who used to rule the heavyweight division with a fist of iron. But McBride wasn't there to be another notch on Tyson's belt. Oh no, he was there to win, to survive, and to show Tyson that he wasn't about to get bullied around the ring. And boy, did he hold his ground. McBride used every inch of his height and reach to keep Tyson at bay, making it crystal clear that he wasn't going to be just another Tyson highlight reel. By the time the 6th round rolled around, Tyson's frustration was boiling over like a pot left on high heat. In a clinch, Tyson did something so outrageous that even the seasoned boxing commentators were left speechless. He bit down on McBride's nipple. McBride himself said, He bit my nipple so hard it was the most excruciating pain that I ever felt in my life. As he pulled away, his mouthpiece fell out and thought, thank God he had his mouthpiece in. If he didn't have that mouthpiece in, I'd be forever known as the Irish heavyweight with one nipple. If you watch the fight back in slow motion, you can see him biting my nipple. It wasn't just a dirty tactic, it was Tyson's last-ditch effort to regain control of a fight that was slipping through his fingers.
Money remaining, Tyson trying to end it.
And McBride after that pushed forward, landing heavy blows that backed Tyson up against the ropes, literally and metaphorically. Tyson's frustration, which had driven him to bite, was now his downfall. When the bell rang to end the 6th round, Tyson was done, physically, mentally, and emotionally spent. He didn't even get up for the 7th round, and just like that, his legendary career ended in defeat by retirement. McBride walked away with the win, but it wasn't just a win, it was a brutal, bloody war where both men left the ring battered and bruised in more ways than one.
And if McBride actually wins this round, it would be a 10-7 round. Not a knockdown, McBride just pushing tight. And he's having...
Since that wild night, Kevin McBride has been pretty open about what it was like to face Tyson in the ring. And his words are not just casual advice. They're a warning forged in the fire of experience. For Jake Paul, who's gearing up to face Tyson later this year, McBride's warnings aren't just tips. They're a glimpse into the harsh reality of what it means to square off against one of the most unpredictable fighters in the sport's history. McBride has made it clear, you don't know what Mike Tyson is going to do. He's a fearsome man. It takes balls to get in the ring with Tyson even in his 50s. Whether you're a YouTuber or a fighter, it takes big balls. Tyson is no joke. And if you thought one real-life example wasn't enough to knock some sense into Jake, let's talk about another infamous encounter that's pretty much burned into the history of boxing. So I'm pretty sure you do remember June 28, 1997, Evander Holyfield steps into the ring with Mike Tyson at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Now this wasn't just any fight, it was the rematch everyone was waiting for. The showdown that was supposed to settle the score from their previous meeting. But what was hyped as a clash of titans quickly turned into an absolute spectacle of chaos, and not in a good way. Tyson came in that night with a chip on his shoulder, determined to avenge his loss from November 1996, where Holyfield had outboxed him and taken the win by TKO in the 11th round. But from the very first bell, it was clear that Holyfield wasn't having any of it. Using his superior movement and counterpunching, Holyfield frustrated Tyson to no end, making him miss those trademark power shots that used to come so easily. The pressure on Tyson kept building, and by the time they hit the 3rd round, his frustration had boiled over like a pressure cooker with no release valve.
You don't get in these things if you don't believe you can win. I'm saying that's my whole thing. I ain't never fought when I ain't think I can win. Every time I ever got in the ring, I thought I was gonna win.
Holyfield's reaction was a mix of shock, pain, and straight-up disbelief. I mean, getting punched in the face is one thing. Having someone take a bite out of your ear? That's a whole other level of crazy. The physical wound was bad enough, but the psychological trauma? That's the kind of thing that sticks with you for life. Holyfield walked away from that night with more than just a missing piece of his ear. He left with a permanent reminder of what happens when you push Tyson too far. Years later, Holyfield looked back on that night with a kind of hard-earned wisdom. He once described Tyson in a way that really drives home the point.
You're like a snake. He'll pop out on you. He get there too quick. But if you charge him, you're gonna smother everything because everything he push off his leg.
That's not just a reflection on Tyson's fighting style. It's a warning about the danger that lurks beneath the surface. Holyfield knew that Tyson wasn't just a boxer. He was a ticking time bomb, a guy who could explode with fury when you least expect it. Now, for Jake Paul, these words from Holyfield shouldn't just be something to think about. They should be a flashing red light, a giant neon sign that says, "Danger ahead." And Jake, with all his bravado and confidence, might believe he can handle whatever Tyson throws his way. But if he's not careful, he could end up facing the same kind of trauma that Holyfield did. The fear, the pain, and the sheer disbelief in the face of such unexpected violence. Those are the things that stay with you long after the physical wounds have healed.
It may be over because he ain't probably never fought nobody who punched like Mike. Like just not saying to the whole.
Even Roy said it. Roy said after the fight, and even in an interview, said like that's not.
That's when McGregor's got some pretty pointed words for Jake and all these new age fighters who think they can coast on viral fame. McGregor didn't sugarcoat it when he said, "Don't aspire to be, one of these like YouTuber fighters. Aspire for world titles. Aspire for Olympic. That is how you etch your name in history."
Don't aspire to be, one of these like YouTuber fighters.
Right.
Aspire for world titles. Aspire for Olympic. That is how you rise. That is how forever. That is how you etch it.
McGregor sees right through Jake's strategy, and let's just say he's not impressed. McGregor's been pretty vocal about the emptiness behind Jake's viral fame. He's warned up-and-coming fighters that Jake isn't exactly the role model they should be looking up to. McGregor didn't hold back when he said,
Doing these little smash and grab fights, you might get a few likes, but there's nothing substantial to it. It's hollow. It's hollow. It can be profitable.
"This is a guy who's been to the top of the mountain, not just in the ring, but as a global sports icon. He knows what it takes to earn respect in the brutal world of combat sports, and he knows how fleeting viral fame can be." In McGregor's eyes, Jake's obsession with quick wins and social media clout is setting him up for a big, empty crash in the long run. McGregor's words are a reality check, a reminder that while the world might eat up a good controversy, real respect is earned through blood, sweat, and a relentless commitment to the sport. Jake's focus on going viral has definitely brought him success, but McGregor's not wrong when he asks, at what cost? Can you believe this guy? Seriously, do you think Jake's just blind to all these warnings, or is he really that full of himself? I'm dying to hear what you think. Drop your wildest thoughts in the comments below.